To upgrade or not to upgrade? That is the question. Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgård, an Olympus visionary and a professional photographer from Helsinki, Finland. Olympus just announced a couple of weeks ago a new camera, the EM1 Mark III, and always when there is a new camera coming to the market, people are starting thinking about should I upgrade or not, and what are the features, do I need them or not? And this is the subject that I will talk about on this video. Should you upgrade or not? But let's first take an image with each Mark III version of their newest cameras. The EM10 Mark III, EM5 Mark III and EM1 Mark III. And here are the images. Do you see any difference in these images? Can you tell which one is taken with which camera? I bet you cannot. In the end of this video I will tell you which photo is taken with the which camera. So stay tuned and find out, because I bet you do not know which one is which, but I will tell you. The first thing that you need to consider is the image quality. Is the image quality as good as you would like it to be? And are there any differences in image quality with the EM10 Mark III, EM5 Mark III or EM1 Mark III? And the short answer is not really. The difference will be visible if we use very high ISO. Then you can see a difference in noise level. And if that is something that you feel that let's say that you have the EM10 Mark II, III or the original EM10, that could be an improvement in image quality if you want to use or need to use very high ISOs. Then you might want to consider upgrading. But otherwise the image quality, not really a big difference. So talking about the image quality, there isn't any huge differences. If you want to improve your image quality, there are two things. It depends on how you kind of like define image quality. On this particular case, I will define it as technical image quality. Then getting a pro lens. Let's say that you have the kit lens, upgrading to a pro zoom lens, let's say 12 to 40 f2 or the new 12 to 45 f4 will have a better image quality. So that could be the thing. Replacing the kit lens with a better pro grade zoom. And when you start thinking about getting a new camera, you need to make a list. What are the things that you are not able to do with your current camera? And if you cannot find anything, then do not upgrade. I will talk about this in the later part of this video. But if the image quality is not an issue in most cases when you want to upgrade your camera, or you won't get any better images, why would you upgrade? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is weather sealing. If you have the OM10 series cameras, those cameras are not weather sealed. But I have a story about this. During the weekend in Helsinki, there was the biggest camera exhibition, camera fair here in the I think it's the Congress and Fair Center in Helsinki. That's what it's called, the place. There was one guy who has been watching my videos and been active in a Finnish Olympus photographers group, and he had the EM10. He had just bought it 6 months ago. I think it was used, that's what he said. And there was a very good deal on the EM1 Mark II, and he came to me and asked that should I upgrade. Then I asked him questions, what lenses do you have and what do you like to shoot? And the thing is that he wanted to make images, landscape images. He had been doing 6 months some photography and felt that he's getting better. And then we started talking about weather sealing, because he had some of the weather sealed lenses already. And he ended up switching because one reason was the weather sealing. And it was a very good deal. Of course, then there's always about the money. It was a very good deal. He got it. It was, I think it's 969 euros minus 150 cash back, and then he traded his old camera back. So I think he ended up paying like 600 euros on the EM1 Mark II. And that's a really good price. And on that occasion, everything, pieces went together. He thought that he's been getting better at photography. He liked it a lot, and he wanted to do images in bad conditions too. And since he already had, as I said, a few weather sealed lenses, it was a perfect match, and the price was totally okay for him. And on those occasions, I think it was a very good deal to trade your camera or upgrade the camera. If you have the OM10 camera, it doesn't matter, the original Mark II or Mark III, Are there any features that you would like it to have? And remember, it already has live comp, HDR, keystone comp, and all that. And they all can do very good video. But what if you need live ND, high-res shot, even better image quality in video, I mean, then those things might be the ones that you need. But let's say that, okay, you need live ND. But what about if you bought a ND filter first and then see if you kind of like actually need it? It's a lot cheaper to get an ND filter than camera with live ND, even though I think the live ND is a marvelous feature to have in a camera, so you don't have to carry around these ND filters at all. So in that sense, but getting a ND filter first could be a start to do long exposure photography with ND filters. And if you need high-res shot, which in, let's say, the landscape photography, high-res is in some cases really handy. You can get really marvelous details with, because it's a 50 megapixel or 80 megapixel image, which has a lot more info than the 20 megapixel image. So in that sense, that could be the thing. But you need to decide if you actually need those features, because everything is about getting better at photography and having more fun. And just getting a camera won't make you a better photographer. It's about the photography skills, which I will talk a bit later in the video. And one thing that could be something for you is better AF. Newer cameras have a lot better AF than the older models. And that could be something. If you, let's say your kid starts playing soccer, football, baseball, whatever, and you want to, you know, take those memories with you and have some photographs of that, then the AF might be the thing. With the better AF, you will get better images. You will have a higher success rate on your images if you have a better AF. But always remember that if you do not have, it doesn't mean that you cannot take those, but you might have some limitations and you need to figure out how to get a sharp image of a moving subject with older cameras, which might not have as good autofocus tracking and continuous autofocus than the new ones. So there's always something that you need to consider. But that could be, the AF could be one big thing to improve if you, or it will improve if you buy a new camera or a newer camera. Speaking of the photographing sports, for example, newer cameras are also faster. They can go all the way up to 60 frames per second. The older ones might go to 11 to 15. For my personal photography, the 60 frames per second is not something that I would get a camera because of that. Okay, it's a nice thing there. I occasionally have used it, but it's not something, because I always use the single shot mode anyways. 99% of my images are taken with that. So for me, that's not the big thing, but it could be for you if you are making images of your kids playing sports. It could be a big thing. Then there is one thing when you consider getting a new camera. I've been teaching photography since 1992 on different lectures, different courses, and most of the problems that people have is not the camera. It's brutal to say, but it is you. Your photography skills might not be as good, and it's not the camera. So learning photography is quite important if you want to be better, of course, which I assume you will because you're watching these videos. And without getting better at photography, buying a new camera won't make you better. You need to have the basic skills, and then when the camera starts to be an obstacle, or it will be hard to do some things that you would like to do, then upgrading a body, the camera body, might be a good thing. Because remember that if you, let's say that you want to be a bird photographer, what it requires, of course you need longer lenses usually. It's quite hard to do bird photography with really wide angle lenses. It can be done, but it's not very easy. It's easier to do the images that people like to see, if that's, actually I don't know if that's a point to do, but anyways, we need long lenses in general for bird photography. But if you buy a long lens, let's say you buy the 300 f4, it doesn't make you a bird photographer. You are just owner of 300 and f4 lens. What makes you a bird photographer is to know how to use the lens, and that means photographic skills. It's the same thing if I would buy a guitar. Would I be a musician? No, I would be a guitar owner because I can't play guitar at all. I would need to practice and learn about music. And it's the same thing with a camera, because a lot of people think that they are photographers when they own a nice camera. No, they are just owners of a camera. To become a photographer, you need the photography skills. And that is something totally different than fancy cameras. I'm sorry that I am a bit brutal on this, but I try to be honest. That's exactly the way it is. A new camera or lens won't make you a better photographer. It might open up some new possibilities for you to learn. Remember that. You need to learn and practice. And when practicing, you need to fail, and then you can succeed. That's just the way it is. Brutal, but yes, honest. And before I tell you which photo was taken with which camera, remember, when you choose or decide that you want to get a new camera, you need to make preferences. You need to think what you need. Someone else might need something else. They might have opinions. I have an opinion what you should get. And of course, other people's opinions can help. But you are the one that has to decide. And remember, there's always the money issue always. So if you have the cash and you have some spare money, then just buy the best camera you want. But most of us don't have the luxury that we have all that loose cash that we can buy anything we want. We need to consider, and that's why you need to make a list, either on a piece of paper, on a computer, on your mind, that what are the most important things that are holding me back. And if you really start thinking about it, it might be you. As I said, photography skills are really important. And here are the results about those images. But hey, thanks for watching and bye for now.